Hello, welcome back, people. We just watched the trailer for Newton. I'm Jaby Koay. Joining us is Mayuri Bhandari. And if you want to see our reaction to it, there's a link in the description below. Anyway, I actually really liked that trailer a lot. I liked just from like, even if you shut the volume off, shut off the subtitles, visually, I thought it was really well done. It was well crafted. Like, the director really took his time to create a very cinematic experience, so to speak. All the shots were very carefully chosen and crafted. I love the angles. I love the composition of every single shot. Personally, like, I would watch this film for that alone. And Rajkummar Rao is a beast, man. Like, every time I see him, he's like a completely different person. It's incredible. Like, the way he is here is different from like the other two roles I've seen him in so far. Like, I just saw a trailer for him in another film, but he like shaved his head and everything like that. He's like this bald dude. He's a revolutionary.
As far as it goes with the shots, nothing's overdone. It seems very simple, very realistic actually even, and it's just, like you said, beautifully done and zones in and out on very specific emotions. It doesn't seem like it's trying too hard. I feel like it's just telling the story as is from the director's perspective and the way he seems to be acting the scenes along with all the other actors. So it definitely looks like a great movie that's just showing it simply as it is.
I saw him in Queen. Did you see Queen?
Yes.
And he did really good in there.
Yes, he did.
I saw him in Trapped. That was like more of an indie film. He was excellent in that. I saw him in a trailer recently. Yeah, it's Bo's Dead or Alive. That's where I saw him and I was like,
Subhash Chandra Bose, yeah.
Yes, you know about that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. I saw him in that and I just couldn't believe it was the same person because he's just a very grounded, understated actor in his performances. And I really like that. There's nothing over the top. It's like the only person I can compare him to in my mind is Nawazuddin Siddiqui, and just how he, performs each role. It's very realistic. Now, taking it from the character's perspective within the trailer here, I thought that it was really neat how in the beginning of the trailer, I don't know if it was his dad going, it's not about you being honest, it's your arrogance about being honest.
Very interesting line.
I really appreciate that line because I noticed that with a lot of people. Just growing up, I've noticed that with certain people who were like super proud to be honest and straightforward. I'm like, you're just an asshole. Like, it's not, you shouldn't wear this like a badge of honor. There's a nice way to be honest. I was at a party the other day and this woman said something to this dude that was very crass, and she's like, hey, I'm just honest. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't have to say that. It's unnecessary. And so it's just an interesting little tidbit for me to like take with me, even from just a trailer. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna use that. It's not about you being honest.
I agree. Just because you're speaking your truth doesn't mean you have to be mean about it.
Right.
If you're trying to express yourself, he's like, there's a bit of an attitude coming there. Do you even realize it? And I think that it's just an expression of probably what's going on within society right now.
There was an interesting moment there where the commanding officer, I don't know what his position is, if he's a sergeant or whatever, but he gave the gun to Rajkummar Rao and he's like, you feel that weight? That's the weight of India that we wear on our backs. While that might not be a character that I favor while watching the film, because I imagine that Rajkummar Rao and him obviously have a lot of tension. I don't know if they're friends at the end or they continue to stay enemies at the end. But that was just an interesting notion because I feel like that's how soldiers in general feel. But to put it in that kind of perspective, like we are carrying the weight of India on our backs, like with these weapons, that was just an interesting thought. Well, his name is Newton or something like that.
Newton, yes, exactly. And it changes from new and ton.
He said he renamed himself.
Yes,
because
correct.
everyone was making fun of him.
Yeah.
Well, that was a joke I didn't really understand.
So the name was Newton, and it was just, I mean, at least as far as I'm concerned, it's not necessarily a name that goes around being made fun of. It's a name I've heard that Indians have, but hey, I could be wrong. And there's probably an inside joke I don't know about. But also Newton can be a female name.
Oh, okay.
So that's probably what the play is, if that's the case.
Okay. There's some inside information.
There's actually a very famous Bollywood actress, like classic from like 50s, 60s, and her name was Newton.
Okay.
So I'm assuming if that's the play, if that's what he's being made of fun of, that's part of it.
But the Newton he's referring to in the philosophies is Sir Isaac Newton, right? I'm just going to assume it's Sir Isaac Newton because that's the most famous Newton of all time. One of the most influential people in terms of like science and physics and all that stuff. Like I think Sir Isaac Newton invented physics. I can see why he would hold Sir Isaac Newton in such like high regard, and that would be his hero. Sir Isaac Newton was a brilliant, brilliant person who never had the company of a woman, by the way. And so there's a little bit of a correlation here with that. Sir Isaac Newton, like, never got married. He never had sex. He just, like, he was super focused on his principles and the science he was developing. And so this guy is all about his principles. And he hasn't taken to a wife yet. And so there's a little bit of interesting parallel there.
There was a little meeting with the girl in the beginning that they showed, of course, but he was like, she's too young.
Yeah, he's like,
you know.
He's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
So anyway, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Please check out Mayuri Bhandari on the social media. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let us know in the comments below how you felt about this. And check out my short film. There's a button right there. I'm not sure which short film I'm advertising on this video, but there's a button there for it. Or there's links in the description below for my short films. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
Mayuri Bhandari.
Peace out.